This is how United Airlines ripped my family off for almost $3,000. So earlier this year, probably in the spring, we purchased first class flights from here in Honolulu to the East Coast to visit Brittany's family. We buy these flights first class because we want to have the most comfortable experience possible. We only visit her family twice a year, and we are flying with a baby, and it's just a lot easier to have the room that you get when you fly in business or first class or whatever. We have flown economy in the past when we couldn't afford the first class tickets, and we have to buy 3 seats, and so it ends up being almost the same price in a lot of cases. Now, we buy these tickets so far in advance because we don't want to have to spend any extra money, so we do as much as we can to save. All of that didn't matter when our flight got canceled completely randomly, and it wasn't just like it got canceled like a week out and we were like, oh no, we got to figure out a new flight. It was we were driving to the airport, which is 3 hours away from Brittany's family's house. So we had to wake up at 3 a.m. to drive for 3 hours to make an 8 o'clock flight. We were only an hour away from the airport when Brittany got a text message that said, oh, this flight is canceled. Good luck. And it did offer us the opportunity to rebook, but the only flight that it gave us, and I'm sorry I don't have a screenshot of this because we were in such a panic, but the only flight that it offered was 2 hours earlier than the flight that we were driving to. So I don't know who would get this message and be like, oh yeah, I can go to the airport earlier than I had intended. And these are all morning flights, so no one's like up at 3 a.m. like, oh yeah, I could actually make a 6 a.m. flight right now. And so this rebooking option would have been impossible for anyone. Like I don't know if anyone was able to rebook that flight. And so all we could do after that was cancel. And I don't know if they thought that everyone going to Honolulu was just going there for vacation, but for us, we were going home. We had already been away for over a month. It was like we had to go home. We had stuff to deal with here. Our plants were dying. Our cat Max was not doing well. We absolutely had to go home as soon as possible. And the earliest flight that we could book was still 2 days later. When you book a flight 2 days out, you know it's going to be really expensive. But what other choice did we have? And sure, you might be like, oh, you could just fly economy. We would have only been able to get 2 seats. They might not have even been near each other. And it would have just been hell flying for 11 hours with a 1.5-year-old. We don't want to subject the entire plane to that. So what we did was we looked for the next soonest flight where we could get 2 first class seats the whole way. And that's just 2 seats. So most of the flights only had 1 seat available in first class. So finally I was able to find a flight that was suitable for us. It was 2 days later, and we'd be able to fly in business together. We won't be sitting right next to each other, but it was good enough. Like Brittany would feel comfortable taking care of our baby, and I would be close enough with her that if something came up, if she wanted a break, whatever, I would be able to take Summer. And you know, I ended up walking around the plane with her and stuff like that for like an hour. Literally, we walked circles around business. And those 2 seats ended up costing a little over $5,000. Now, when we first booked it, it was like $4,000 total for the full like return flight. And so to have only a single flight costing $5,000 was crazy compared to what we would normally budget for this kind of trip. But we were desperate to get home, and I thought, you know what, like we've flown United Business like 3 or 4 times now with round trip flights, and Brittany has a United card, so I thought as loyal customers they would look at us and go, okay, these people deserve like a full refund, including the extra cost that they had to pay in order to get home, and I thought that they would have our backs. And finally, you're realizing why I'm making this video is that they gave us like $200 of flight vouchers, which it just hurts. Like it hurts to like be trapped somewhere, and the only way home is to be either extremely uncomfortable and ruin the experience for like the 50 people around us when we have a screaming baby for 5 hours because we're crammed into 2 seats. And I can't even imagine, like we wouldn't have been next to each other, first of all. So it would have been Britt on her own, probably in a middle seat in between 2 people while she's like 5 or 6 months pregnant. I just can't imagine putting Brittany through that. I can't imagine putting through those other passengers on the plane through that. Like it just all is so bad. We had to fly business class to not just make everything way worse. And so I would just like it if United would like honor what they should have done to begin with. It was their fault that they canceled the flight. Everyone that we talked to, the flight attendants were like, oh yeah, they'll totally refund you. Don't worry about it. And all that we were refunded was the original flight that we bought and not all of this extra expense that we had to take on in order to get home, just to get, to me, the same product that we already had. Like, we paid for a flight home. I should be expected to get another flight home when it's United's fault that the flight was canceled. And so really that's all I'm asking for, and why I'm making this video, because I just feel like we got ripped off by United, and like, other people should know that this happened to us. In case you're someone that's going to fly United Business, like, you should know that if they randomly cancel a flight for their own technical difficulties, you're going to be screwed. Okay, that's all the complaining we did. Bye.